Welcome in, everybody. Before we get into this morning's update, I want to go over a quick synopsis of what's transpiring right now. First, we've got Bitcoin extremely overextended. So if you're going long on Bitcoin or if you're going long on an asset right now, I would highly encourage you to see how this plays out here. Bitcoin's up 4.46% right now, up better than 2,000 points to 47,336. Hopefully you were able to watch my videos from yesterday. You were able to watch the later night update, or you managed to get into the live. As we front ran this, we talked about this move for Bitcoin. We talked about the move for XRP. And I think we're going to have to do a little bit of finer details here this morning because Bitcoin being up over 2,000 points, this should be a warning to everybody watching. It's about as far overextended as you could ever see Bitcoin. And the fact that it pushed up here, hopefully now, because we came up to this level, maybe a pullback to 46,300, 44,000, retesting those areas would actually hold now. And I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to drop 2,000 points at once, so don't be like, oh my goodness, this is every single time crypto pumps, we have a big dump. But right now we are overextended. I would love to see a continuation up, but I don't know how much farther Bitcoin can go. As much as I love to see it railing up and people making money, like I said last night when I came on, at least it begins now for XRP. The short-term pain can end. We talked about a technical target between 526 and 531, just depending on how Bitcoin wanted to, or how XRP wanted to rotate up. We did fulfill the technical target on the bottom side of it. We did not come all the way up to 531. Bitcoin was up to about, I believe it was 47,000. What was that? Had a big wick up here though. 47,700 approximately is where Bitcoin ended up. But now, looking through this, the relative strength is very, very, very overextended. I know it was overextended yesterday with Bitcoin, but we talked how it was targeting some of these areas. And if it came up here now, this would hold maybe for a bullish consolidation instead of a complete reversal. But I have a fear this morning. My fear this morning is everybody on the East Coast is going to wake up, which is why I got up. I went to bed at 2 o'clock, and I woke up at about 6:37 and did what I had to do. And I've been watching and doing my due diligence, but I'm fearing this morning that a lot of people are going to wake up on the East Coast and say, oh my God, Bitcoin's up 2,000 points. I think this is the time to have this major rally, not even understanding that Bitcoin is very, very, very overextended, and it almost seems too perfect that it came up this much and that it could rotate back up. When you start looking at the relative strength is suggesting a huge breakdown. And when I say huge, I don't know how big it's going to be, but we're going to go into this in depth together. But this is where we have to keep our emotions in check. This is where we have to keep that FOMO attitude in check. This is where we have to keep our minds ready. I would love to see Bitcoin continue to go up so everybody can continue to see this rally. I'm just simply stating that we are extremely overextended. When I say overextended, the relative strength index is up over 94 in some of these time frames, up over 90 in most. And yeah, like I've said, an asset when it pumps like Bitcoin, until they're done pumping it, there's a lot of liquidity to go to the shorts. But at some point, we've seen it a million times and we'll see it a million times again. Nothing can go straight up and nothing can go straight down. Bitcoin right now is overextended, and if you have profits, if you actually took a long, I would highly encourage you to consider your positioning and see how this is going to play out. We'll go very deep into Bitcoin, very deep into XRP, but I wanted to get that off my chest in the beginning. My fear this morning is someone's going to get crushed this morning as it comes down. We don't know where it stops. We never do, but we've had a tremendous run up. And can we get to 50,000 without a correction? Where we're at right now, it's going to be highly unlikely. I wouldn't put it past the market makers or manipulators, but still, we have to look at this in a universal way and be legitimate or be honest with ourselves to say, yes, we want Bitcoin to run. Yes, we want XRP to continue running, but is it feasible right now? So let me do the intro and we're going to get into this hot and heavy. So good morning, 7:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday, February 9th, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So here's that volatility. We spoke of this volatility Now, what scares me with Bitcoin, and I know Bitcoin can keep going unopposed as long as it wants, or we're going to blink our eyes and all of a sudden it's going to be back at 46,000. And that is what I'm fearing. That all of a sudden this is going to end the top out, and then we're going to be 46, 45, 44, and everybody's going to be like, what the hell just happened? We had a 3,000 point reversal. I'm hoping it goes to 50K, as all of you know. I would be more than willing to let it go to 50K and let the market reverse completely. And then we're just going back to the promised land. However, when we start looking at this from a relative strength perspective, we're up at 88 in the 45 minute. In the 1 hourly, we're up to 92.42. Let's just continue to grasp this real quick. In the 3 hourly, the relative strength index of Bitcoin is all the way up at 93.4. In the 4 hourly, Bitcoin is now up to 94. To put it in perspective, the last time Bitcoin was at 94 in the 4 hourly, I mean, we can go back and start looking at what Bitcoin did. So pretty close here. Bitcoin got up to about 91, and we went from 45,000. Oh my God, we had a 5,000 point drop from that spot when we went up to 91. Whoa. Okay, so 5,000 points there. Let's go look at some other evidence when we've been this high. Bitcoin back here went from 35,137 to 33. That's a 2,100 point drop that time. And then we continued up. If we go farther in the, I mean, you can't, it's hard to find when we actually go up that high. We had a push up. It looks like $30,800. Then we came down about 1,200. Went up again to 31,444. Then ultimately came back down another 2,000 points. So I want Bitcoin to keep going. It's so fun when I wake up and Bitcoin's doing this. But it's even funner to realize that there could be a big correction coming and we just have to pay attention. It's pretty incredible how high Bitcoin is on the relative strength index right now. 50,000 is that broadening wedge resistance at 50,200, approximately 50,000. The only question is can it possibly continue to run up like this unopposed? Like I always say, when they're manipulated, it's an interesting prospect. It's just we are getting up there. We are getting up there. 5 minute dumped off a little bit, but we are getting up there, ladies and gentlemen. And I just don't know how much Bitcoin is left in it. I don't know how much more it has left in the tank. So I wanted to come on this morning and do a very detailed, very passionate, and very, on the point about what I'm seeing with Bitcoin. XRP's up 1.76%. Doesn't even tell the story yet. XRP came up. And last night we talked about, or at least in the live, we talked about if this was a bull flag or rising channel. I put this in for myself. I only had it like this last night. Whoops. I put that in for myself for that resistance wall, as you guys seen in the live last night if you were in the live. But right now, on a breakout here like XRP did, technically, it was anywhere between where we're at now, getting rejected here, or actually coming up to 531. XRP so far got rejected at 5266. Now, like I said, we don't know where the end point is. But I can tell you right now, with Bitcoin being so overextended, it's not like XRP hasn't found itself into the overextended range. Not as far as Bitcoin, obviously. Not as far as Bitcoin. We're at about 77 for XRP in the 2 hourly. 4 hourly's into overbought. Daily's working its way up. But as we know with XRP, it likes to correct a lot. That W reversal. If we could get a nice correction now, my God. My God, if Bitcoin can... That's the thing now. Is crypto going to retrace now as everybody's on the hook, or is it going to continue to go up as the U.S. wakes up on the East Coast? I am begging the market to not dump on everybody real quickly before they can get their bearings this morning. I am just fearing in the pit of my stomach that Bitcoin is so overextended that it's going to have a 2,000-3,000 point drop here. I know it's not what anybody wants to hear, but when you start to become overextended, Maybe we go to 48. Maybe we go to 48.5. Maybe we go to 50 before that overextension runs out. But I don't like the way we're trending right now. That move up from 46,600 to 47,000 was pretty incredible. And the fact we were able to get our way up to, I believe it was like 47,800 at the top, if I'm not mistaken. Because it got up there pretty good. All right, 47,665 on this one. And on this one, it got to 47,623. So we definitely made a nice little move here. But like I said, I'm looking at this in the fact that we're so overextended that at some point Bitcoin's going to correct. And I just don't want my audience to get the hammer dropped on them if they're in a long position or if they're attempting to go long on Bitcoin. I'm telling you, these are the spots where you're going to get a lot of people waking up in the morning and get a lot of liquidity to the downside, probably. I hope I'm wrong. I've been doing this a long time, and when you get overextended like this, all of a sudden you get punched in the face, and before you know it, you go from being up, and you're like, well, what the hell just happened? Where'd that 800-point drop come from? Where'd that 4,000-point... I mean, when you become overextended like this, the odds of more people being able to push in at these... The technical traders as a whole end up becoming very imbalanced right now. They're looking for a technical indicator to buy. Right now, it's firing a sell all across the board. Where the relative strength of Bitcoin is, it's firing a sell all across the board. To me, you've got a reversal candle in the 30-minute on XRP. I am not surprised by seeing that. Now, can these be fake outs? You better believe it can. But when Bitcoin is so overextended, we talked yesterday, the best outcome for XRP would be to push up to that 526 to 531 area before having to further retrace. And it doesn't mean it has to go down far, but that means it could allow it to come back down to that 494. It could allow it to hit that 508 as support or 518 for the first time. But Bitcoin is what's scaring me. Bitcoin is putting fear in my mind right now just because it did not clear out. There has been no attempted clear out. And last time we extended this far, we had a huge drop. Remember the last time we extended way up here? When we just kept extending? It's pretty much what we're seeing right here. Let me get rid of this. It's pretty much what we're seeing right here. You've seen it in the 30 when we overextended. I want to get this into the higher time frame so you can see exactly how this played out when it came back here. So last time we came up to 49,000, we had a relative strength initially when we made the first push up to 85, but when we got up there, it was at 81. And we went from an 81 relative strength, and Bitcoin dumped from 49,000 all the way to 37. Now, by no means am I saying a 12,000 point drop is going to happen next. But what I am saying is when this starts to reverse, and it really starts to reverse, and it's finished out whatever it's deciding to do here, volatility is the name of the game. And volatility is going to have somebody crying. I just hope it's nobody in this audience. I'm giving you the biggest forewarning of what's to come here. This is a warning, warning, warning. If you're watching this right now, please make sure to hit that like button, as it will greatly help push me through the analytics. It will greatly help push this community, and it will greatly help us advance our cause here so that we can allow more people to see this information before it's too late. XRP's come up to the mid-tier part of it. So between 526 and 531 is what I kept telling everybody yesterday was the technical move. And we fulfilled at least the bottom portion of that move. Can it come up to 53 cents? It's possible. Am I being a little bit annoyed by Bitcoin because it decided to come up with no correction today? You better believe it. But at the same time, it gave us a chance to have this come up. For anybody who was in a long overnight like we talked about, you did exceptionally well. So at least if you're in a leverage trade, consider profits. If you're in a spot trade, obviously, if you're in the accumulation phase right now, this didn't really do much for you for XRP. It's up 1.8%, big deal. But Bitcoin, on the other hand, is where we start to temper things and we see, okay, well, with Bitcoin moving like it did, what is the reality of what comes next? So with that, let me just go over my thoughts here very quickly with XRP. XRP is up 1.81%. I know we talked about it a little bit, but when you look at the grand pattern and see exactly what XRP is setting up to do, it's difficult. I want to say XRP is just going to continue unabated, but we are overextended now. Even with XRP, with most of your assets now, we went from the area of oversold to now we're into an area of starting to enter overbought. With Bitcoin, we're extremely overbought. It's making me very nervous this morning that we're going to see some kind of huge correction that we're not even grasping right now because we're so excited to see it this morning, right? Most of us woke up, we're like, oh my God, Bitcoin's up 4.48%. Where's XRP? Oh, XRP's up 1.8%. These are often signs that we could be topping out here. Like I said, I'm all for Bitcoin coming to 50,000 and making us have that very nice feeling. I'm all for XRP coming up because it very well might still come up. But we are overextended, and there's just no way for me to put it any other way. XRP is overextended, but not anywhere near Bitcoin. We finished this little cup we talked about. Now it's creating this little W reversal. It's going to have to retrace every step of the way if it's going to want to do this because of how high up we are on the relative strength already. Daily's looking okay. 4 hourly is starting to get up there now, so you would expect it to start correcting down to meet the daily. So if that's the case, XRP should... It's tricky. It's tricky at best. If we can hold these levels, it's going to be very hard to hold these levels. But never say never in the world of manipulation. That's how we figured yesterday that even with it overextended, that Bitcoin was hunting that 47,000. Then we didn't know how high overextended it could get. Right now it is around 47,700 is where it pushed out to. We'll see if that's where it caps the upside right now. And then we have to have a consolidation. XRP is in that first tier. So important, this first tier, because if we get rejected here, then even if Bitcoin breaks down, we could have a beautiful consolidation. Just listen and hear me out. I know it might not be what everybody wants here, but you did have a chance at a move that we've been talking about that happened today. So resistance, support, resistance, support. If it hits this mid-tier resistance and then it comes to support or comes to support, best case scenario is now it would come to here. Now, if it does dump down and it comes to here, this would still clear us out, and then you'd have another volatile move until it finally probably... If it corrects back down to here and holds, I would anticipate nothing short of this happening in the shorter term. But we do need a correction for this to continue being bullish. If it does get a push up here, especially Bitcoin, if Bitcoin pushes up here without any further correction, it's over. It might already be over with how high Bitcoin pushed up already. I find it ironic that at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when Bitcoin is deciding to start to try to show some topping out here. If it does happen like this, I think everybody's going to be like, it's exactly how it always is. We sleep in the USA on the East Coast and then the West Coast. And by the time we wake up, especially on the West Coast in the morning, all those gains are lost. And then we're usually down farther than we started on the rally. Now with Bitcoin, I don't think we'll be down more than 45,000 in the very short term. But ladies and gentlemen, just in the 30-minute time frame, just to hold the 200-day to show that you're still bullish, if you're going from a 30-minute perspective, they'll try to hold the 200-day and not reverse back down. That could bring you all the way to 44,300. Now, if we look at it in the 4 hourly, and yes, we're more focused on Bitcoin this morning, but that's because of where we're at. Even in the 4 hourly, if Bitcoin wants to show support on the 20-day, it's got a mighty move down to 44,700. There is a mighty reversal coming. God, I hate the fact we're at where we're at right now, but the hammer is coming. The hammer is coming. So with that, everybody, just please, please, please be cautious. Please. That's all I'm saying this morning. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you 100% certainty where we're going to go or what you're supposed to do. But what I can tell you is when I'm seeing things like this where we're so overextended on Bitcoin, it almost seems too perfect for a pump and dump now. This almost seems like there's no way around this. We need a correction. That's all there is to it. We need a correction, and I fear that this morning we're going to start seeing some of this green turn to red, especially in altcoins. Hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I came on, I did my due diligence for everybody this morning. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. Make sure to hit that like button if you're watching this. If you appreciate my work, hit that subscribe button. Give me a chance. Give this community a chance. Please. If you are watching this, hit that subscribe button. Share this on social media. And if you do appreciate my work, consider joining Tom's Army. If you join Tom's Army, it is the number1 way. If you see the emoji badges, it shows that the station's strong. It shows that we're doing something right here, and it's so important for me for you to help me to push my dream. If you appreciate the time I put in, the unrelenting hours, consider joining Tom's Army or sending a YouTube super chat to show your thanks. Other than that, please hit that like button. Share this on social media. Consider everything I've said. And in a little bit, I'm going to go over the news. But I want to release this 20-minute update with the in-depth nut and bolts that we shared. And please, please, please pay attention to Bitcoin, because I fear this morning at some point I'm going to come back on here today, tomorrow, and I'm going to say, well, Bitcoin's had a reversal. We're back down, a couple thousand points maybe. I'm hoping I come on and say we're at 50,000. But just what I'm looking at right now, I have to be honest with myself and my audience. We're extremely overextended, and we are in the works for we could be in the works for a 4,000 to 6,000 point correction on Bitcoin. Let's just call it for what it is. If 44,000 doesn't hold on a steep correction, that would bust this pattern back to the downside. We do have a chance for 1,000 points down from at 46,300, but that seems very unlikely with how overextended we are. But we'll just have to see if Bitcoin unrelentingly goes up. That's one thing. But if we start to give back some of this, and the first sign will be in the 30-minute. We start giving this back in the 30-minute, you're going to all of a sudden see this candle go from trying to break up to squeezing down to the 20-day, and that would bring you down to 46,570. That underneath pivot support is 46,570. If by some stretch of the imagination Bitcoin continues to pump, 50,000 is that broadening wedge resistance. It's going to be very hard pressed, though, to get up there right now. I'm not saying it's impossible, but that 93 on the RSI is really, really punching me in the face right now in the shorter time frames. The fact that we're so overextended in the daily time frame and the weekly, especially the daily when it closes the day, if it ends up here, it's going to be a big issue. So take this all into consideration. I do this because I care, not because I'm trying to make you worry or stress out. I'm just warning you that we are overextended like we haven't seen in Bitcoin in quite some time. And just for transparency, the last time Bitcoin was this overextended, we dropped more than 4,000 points in a matter of about a week, if that. So consider that, pay attention, and take the advantage and use the knowledge. Don't play the victim, we play the winner. Keep that love in your heart. And if you want to support me, there was the ways I said in the video description below. Trying to trade crypto, your favorite, or XRP, your favorite crypto, whether leverage, trying to short, whether long. Video description below, you got MEXC, BITUNIX, and PHEMEX. They're the ways that I trade, and I really enjoy using them because of the lower spot fees. Or consider buying the Fud Stops Here t-shirt to help support the show with a little bit of merch. Have a beautiful morning.